Penguin Random House Audio presents Our Biggest Fight: Reclaiming Liberty, Humanity, and Dignity in the Digital Age by Frank H. Mccourt, Jr. with Michael J. Casey. Read for you by the authors with Jonathan Beville.
To my mother, K. Mccourt, who for over a century never lost her optimism about the future.
To Philip, Bods, and Des, it's all about the challenges.
Start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. St. Francis of Assisi. Raise your hopeful voice. You have a choice. You'll make it now. Lyrics by Glenn Hansard and Marketa Erglova, Falling Slowly. Introduction. Hidden in plain sight. We face a choice about our future. Do we want to envision, write, and be in charge of a future in which we are respected as individuals and in which we can enhance and enrich our society? Or do we want our future to be written by a few giant corporations whose technology, algorithms, and devices steadily chip away at our humanity? It's a choice between human beings and machines. Everything, and I mean everything, hinges on this decision. The future will be digital. There is no turning back the information technology revolution that has transformed our lives and blurred the lines between our digital and physical existences. The Internet, the most profound expression of that digital transformation, will necessarily remain integral to our economic, social, and political organizations. Still, the future I would choose is one in which the Internet has a far more positive impact on our lives than it does today. It's a digital future that has humans at its center. The Internet began as a utopian dream. Well, as we'll learn, the idea was first shaped, at least partly, by military considerations. But the Internet of popular imagination, the one that some visionary academics, Silicon Valley's big thinking coders, and a community of cyber hippies latched onto in the 1980s and 90s, the Internet of mass disruption and freedom of information, that idea of an Internet was one that was going to liberate us. Powerful elites would no longer control information systems or dominate the commercial networks that define the economy. The marketplace of ideas would organically bubble up the best of humanity and give scientists and innovators, wherever they might be, a real chance to improve life on this planet. It would be an Internet of freedom, of unfettered access, of inclusion, of diversity, of collaborative and constructive connections between all people everywhere. That's not the Internet we ended up with. As it currently functions, the Internet, despite all the conveniences and connectivity it has unleashed, is the primary cause of a pervasive unease in the United States and other democratic societies. The Internet explains why our national arguments seem intractable. It's why every issue is reduced in public debate to the lowest common denominator. It's why youth suicide rates are rising, why politics is filled with toxicity, and why many now dread Thanksgiving dinners. It's why some people in California, much like their red state counterparts in Texas, are seriously contemplating secession. It's why armed guards are deployed at school board meetings. It is why a massive law enforcement effort has failed to curtail the spread of a deadly fentanyl epidemic, with supply routes of the drug secretly coordinated over social media. It's why Americans' confidence in a variety of civil institutions, as measured by the Edelman Trust Barometer, is at an all-time low. It's why people are calling this a post-truth society. On the face of it, these issues might seem unrelated. I'm here to tell you otherwise, that they all stem from flaws in our information system. Information is the lifeblood of any society, and our 3-decade-old digital system for distributing it is fatally corrupt at its heart. It has failed to function as a trusted, neutral exchange of facts and ideas, and has therefore catastrophically hindered our ability to gather respectfully, to debate, to compromise, and to hash out solutions to the many problems we face, big and small. Everything ultimately comes down to our ability to communicate openly and trustfully with one another. We have lost that ability, thanks to how the internet has evolved away from its open, decentralized ideals. To be clear, when we refer to what the internet is doing to society, we are talking about the lived experience of the internet, the way we interact with that giant space of information and content that we tap into every day, not the physical infrastructure that connects the devices through which that information flows. That infrastructure remains more or less within the decentralized, no-one-in-charge structure that was built out in the 70s by a group of well-intended computer scientists from a few U.S. universities. The Internet's problems exist higher up the stack, at what computer scientists refer to as the application layer, with what we now recognize as the platforms controlled by the big tech companies of Silicon Valley. Their dominance arose out of the changes that came in the 1990s with the arrival of the World Wide Web. In this book, we will refer to this period interchangeably as the web era, current, or second-generation internet. In this phase, the one we're still living in, the internet became centralized, controlled by these corporations. It fueled the failure of our information system. This failure has resulted in social regression. We feel a loss of control over our lives because we are now subject to what I call digital feudalism. It's as if we're marching back toward the Middle Ages. Our sense of agency has been seized from us by a clutch of corporate behemoths. You know their names: Alphabet's Google, Meta's Facebook, the Chinese company ByteDance's TikTok, et al. I will make it incontrovertibly clear that those companies have done great harm to us. We'll discover how, by scraping and stealing our data, hiding the influence of their proprietary algorithms, and persistently surveilling our online activity, they have stripped us of our agency, of our capacity to set the course of our lives. I'll also show that they've completely undermined our collective ability to drive progress, and that, as bad as all this sounds, if we don't move quickly to fix things, it will get much worse as the age of artificial intelligence, or AI, rapidly takes shape. The situation is urgent. We must change this system. Do it right, though, and we will finally, properly unlock the immense potential of the internet, the innate possibility that comes with interconnecting everyone on the planet. We can chart a path to a new, human-friendly internet and a better world. But we must choose wisely. This is a book about the future, but it begins in the past, on January 10th, 1776, to be precise. On that date, 6 months before the drafting of the Declaration of Independence, an anonymous pamphlet with the title Common Sense began circulating from a publisher in Philadelphia. Then, like now, society was marked by a deep and growing unease. For more than a decade, colonial Americans had been chafing at how they were being governed by the English monarchy. Their discontent had climaxed with the Boston Tea Party Rebellion in 1773, when the Sons of Liberty rose up against the Tea Act passed earlier that year to demand the right to self-rule with the protest cry of "No taxation without representation." But while anger and dissatisfaction were widespread, no clear, unified movement had yet emerged dedicated to the radical idea of breaking with Britain and setting up a new government based on democracy and self-determination.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?